Good morning, everyone. I'm Maysha with As Long As You're Breathing. Yes, I've got my hot tea. And I'm not doing this video outside today because it took me forever yesterday to get that video to upload that I did yesterday morning. And it was very frustrating. Yesterday was a hard tech day for everybody I talked to. So, Mercury's direct now. So all this tech stuff we're having with Mercury, with all this tech stuff we're having, we can't be blaming it on Mercury retrograde. So I know Mercury is in conjunction, or we had like 5 planets in conjunction, so I don't know if that's still affecting things. New moon doesn't affect it, so I don't know what's going on with the tech, y'all. But yesterday, everybody and their brother was like having tech issues, and it's been going on for a while now, so don't know what the deal is, but we're going to do this today here while I have my hot tea, and then I'm going for my walk. It'll be a little warmer by then anyway, so that's all good. All right, I want to talk to you today about multi-dimensionalism and the fact that we are multi-dimensional beings. Now, I do not want to debate with quantum physicists, all right? I have great respect for quantum physicists. Quantum physicists are the scientists that don't argue with the fact that we were created. They don't argue with creationism. As a matter of fact, they embrace it. They embrace the fact that science is not supposed to be separate from, I don't like to use the word spiritual because that gets into a whole other ball of wax, but science doesn't have to be separate from the knowledge that we are created beings, that there's a divine plan, that there is a plan. As a matter of fact, they believe it all has to be integrated for it all to make sense. And so I love quantum physicists for that reason, is they get it. And so, and they're brilliant. So some brilliant people who get it, that's quite refreshing. Because sometimes we can be so smart that we cheat ourselves out of so much because we get locked in our ego. When the mind has decided, we've got this, then the mind is then a dangerous thing, because the mind is only a computer that has been programmed since we got here. That is very important to remember. Yes, it regulates the body, it keeps the body going, etc., etc. And it has got the energetic DNA imprints from past incarnations, if you're an esotericist. But it's so you understand and believe that that level of consciousness. But the mind has only got what it's already experienced here. That's it. So whenever we get locked into we know, I know, I've got it, that's in our ego. I don't like to say that because then people hear that they're being criticized. Well, you think I'm egotistical. No, I think your mind has decided that it's running the show, and it's not. And so I just talk about the dimension of the mind, okay? Because we are multidimensional beings, and that takes us right to where I want to go. I've got a hair in my eye. So what we want to talk about is multidimensionalism. If you watch sci-fi stuff, if you have listened to some quantum physicists, that kind of thing, it can be very confusing. And so I'm going to tell you what's been channeled to me about multidimensionalism. Now, when I say channeled, I'm talking about higher vibrational energy that I get information from. And I hear it clairaudiently. I hear it. I just get the information. That's claircognizance. I feel the information. Clairsentience. I don't necessarily feel the information. I feel the energies, and I feel energy shifts. I feel dimensional shifts. So I do have clairvoyance, but I don't see as much as I do see some. But clairvoyance is not just about seeing. Clairvoyance is about being able to project forward, as well as see forward, or be aware of things going on without necessarily seeing them. I'm kept very aware of a lot of things going on, so I'm very clairvoyant too. So, but when I say channeled, it's It's the information is coming to me. And I've gotten huge downloads of it. And then I've gotten conversational channeling about it. So I'm going to share with you what I understand about multidimensionalism, because I hear others talking about it and they make it sound kind of confusing. And it's really not. It's really quite simple. You see, we are physical vessels, physical beings. Therefore, we have to integrate what we understand, the gifts we've been given to deal with the mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional bodies that are here. Our physical, mental, emotional, spiritual health of this vessel. But we are energetic beings. Therefore, first and foremost, we have to understand and deal with our energetic existence. So it takes both. That's the metaphysical. That's why I don't like to use the word spiritual. It's the metaphysical, or the energetic truth, that has to be integrated with the fact that yes, we're in physical bodies. Okay? Frequently you'll hear people use words like, well, it's the matrix, and it's all an illusion, and we're like holograms. And they say those things, and it almost sounds like the physical body is not a reality to deal with. Well, it is. Just like desks and trees and houses and all of those things are physical structures or physical entities. It's because of the molecular composition of them. It's because the energy of them, the protons, electrons, and neutrons, they have come together, and the density of them, the way they have formed together, creates in our 3D existence, in the 3D plane, creates what we interpret as, and therefore, if we perceive it to be so, it is a desk, a tree, a chair, a house, us. So, if we perceive it, it is real. And we have to deal with it. Okay? So, that's the first thing, is when you hear people talk about, well, we're in the matrix. It's all an illusion. No. It's really happening. It's real. This is happening. I see you, you see me. It is our perception, and therefore it is our reality. Okay. The protons, electrons, neutrons, they've come together to formulate in a way that we perceive it, therefore it is so. Okay? It's not a hologram deck where you go in and you dial it up and you make it different because you want to change the experience. It doesn't work quite that way. We are what we are. Okay? Now, the way the experience does change, however, is our level of awareness of the fact that we are these energetic beings in a physical body, having a physical experience. That's how we change it. That's how we can reprogram the hologram deck. Okay? That's how we can change the programming. That's how we quantum leap everything, is understanding, hold on, we're not just what we see. That is our reality, but there's more to us. You see, we have energy centers, or chakras, which are actually representative of dimensions of ourselves. Okay. You're not going to hear a quantum physicist say that, I don't believe, but I've had it channeled to me several times. And then, not all of we are an energetic being, that not all of that energy could embody inside this physical vessel. All right? So, each energy center represents a different dimensional aspect of ourselves. And then the dimensions of ourselves continue to go up. There's more dimensions to that energy that is coming down. All right? Now, at this point in time, we're meant to access through the stellar gateway, which, depending on how you count things, is a different way than quantum physicists talk about dimensions. It's 12 dimensions. 7 Okay. I'm just going to do Earth Star Chakra, the root chakra, the sacral chakra, which also has the navel chakra, the solar plexus, then the heart chakra, then the high heart chakra, which is quite significant in 5D, then the throat chakra, then the third eye chakra, then the crown chakra, then the causal chakra, then the solar star, and then the stellar gateway. So it's actually 13. It's actually 13. Many don't count the Earth Star Chakra because it's like below our feet under the ground. It's what helps keep us grounded. It has many other functions too. But it's actually 13 different energy centers, and therefore 13 dimensions that have been channeled to me that I'm aware of. But the energy continues to go on and on, all right? Because the energy is vast. Now, you'll be told that we have multiple timelines going, that we're living, each of those dimensions of ourselves has a different life going on right now. Well, those dimensions of ourself that I just mentioned, those are experiencing this lifetime with us. They're not living another lifetime right now. Now, the energy that expands beyond that, that's got other things it's doing. Okay? But our chakra system down, it's experiencing what we're experiencing. It's here to be a part of this experience. It's here to be our control tower, to guide us. Okay? So, we decided of our own free will before we got here what heaven on earth experience we wanted. We were not meant to go into the denser energies. Consciousness did not want to expand into denseness, into despair and unforgiveness and anger and all of the things that have led to divisions, the polarity that we're in now, to where we are not healthy, happy, whole, and complete and functioning without chaos. That's not expanding consciousness. Consciousness did want to experience more, wanted to learn more, wanted to know more, wanted to expand. That's why the universe took little parts of itself and subdivided them and said, go co-create with me. Go co-create with me. Was to expand consciousness. And that's the energetic beings that we are those pieces of the universe. The whole divided itself up, and parts of it incarnate in physical bodies here to experience, be, feel, and experience, which is living, great big capital letters. And then, for the whole not to be chaotic, we cannot be in chaos. If we are chaotic, the whole is chaotic because it's energy. So what happens with us happens with the whole. And what happens with the whole happens with us. So the fact that we got into chaotic energy created chaos. First in our individual lives, we were getting stuck energetically in sadness, in depression, in the denser energies. And then that caused butterfly effect, meaning that everyone else didn't get what they were supposed to get, so that put them in the denser energies. And then that, here, each one of us not getting what we're supposed to get means that the whole became chaotic. So it is imperative to the universe to bring order back to things. That is why our vibration is coming back up now, which was going to happen anyway because of sacred geometry, because the universe is expanding. All right? So as we expand, astrologically, they could figure out when the planet was going to come up to a higher vibration. And so it has taken that point in time to do this because we shut down the chakra system. We shut down the other dimensions of ourselves that were keeping us from going into these denser energies. We were never meant to go into those denser energies. It has created chaos, and it was not meant to. Now, there are those who will say that doesn't make sense, because if the universe creates everything, the universe knows everything, then how did that happen? Well, think about what the universe did. The universe, conscious awareness, took parts of itself and said, co-create with me, to expand our consciousness, our awareness, what we know. And so the energetic beings came into physical, and at some point, the dimension of the mind decided, hold on a second, why are we living out stories already written? Somebody's telling us what to do. Our free will's being infringed upon here. And we're even being prevented by dimensions that they say exist, but we can't see, from doing everything we want to do. There's these denser energies we could be going into. What's all that about? We're being held back. And so at some point, we literally shut down, because the mind said, hold on, we've got this. We don't need the heart space guiding us. We want to do what we want to do here. And we don't need the control towers guiding us, because they're going to stop me from doing this. So I've got to trick everyone. I've got to get everyone on board with this. We need to shut all those down so we can do what we want to do. We've got this. Egotistical. We've got this. And we shut down the other chakras. And the ones that we kept on were then not functioning exactly correctly, because the Kundalini energy, which is very fiery, strong manifesting energy, which is also our sexual energy, our creative energy, could not dissipate properly, because it needed the entire chakra system to do it. And therefore, that energy just kept circling, and we became a more aggressive species. So we didn't just become chaotic, we became aggressive and chaotic. All right? So now, we have, as a planet, come up in vibrational frequency because of that point in time with sacred geometry, astrologically. Okay? So now we are coming up in vibrational frequency too. And we are being born at higher vibrational frequencies as well. And coming here that way, we are awakening to, or becoming aware of, this knowledge. Now, many have called it the spiritual awakening. Well, I call it the energetic awakening, or the metaphysical awakening. I just use energetic. The energetics of it is what matters. We're all energy. Now, people will hear me say that I was born awake. What I mean by that is I was born at a vibrational frequency that was in touch and receiving information from, hearing, feeling, seeing, knowing a great deal more than a lot of other people. Why? I don't know. It's just the way it happened. Many of us at this time were. Throughout history, other people have been as well. But many of us were at this point in time. And that was to help bring the planet's vibration up faster. Because we're going to get to this tipping point to where the vibrational frequency of everyone is up enough that it will switch us from being in chaos to more order. And butterfly effect will be minimized then. And then we will be living the lives that we, of our own free will, came here and chose to live. You'll hear people say, anything that you conceive of in the heart space that you feel is supposed to be yours, that you're in a vibrational frequency to attract to you, well, it's there already. It's already manifested. You just have to attract it to you. It already exists. And they'll use the fact that we're multidimensional beings as the excuse. And I say excuse because they use that to try to explain how it already exists. That it's in another dimension. That's another part of you. And they make it sound like, and sci-fi has presented it as, there's another you just like you, looks just like you, talks like you, walks like you, everything, living a different life in a different dimension at this point in time. And therefore, that's why that's there. And you're now calling it from that dimension to this dimension. Not exactly. This is what I've been channeled that is so different than that. Not exactly. What is happening there is, yes, we have multidimensional aspects of ourselves. The ones that are equated, the dimensions equal to the chakra system. They're not living other lives than we're living. They're not us looking like this in another house somewhere, with another spouse somewhere, with another job somewhere, doing something different somewhere, and we've picked up on it energetically, and so we're honed into it, and we're calling it here now to be so as well. No. They are experiencing this with us. We call them down into ourselves so we can be as one and function as a unit. We are a multidimensional unit that is meant to be functioning together. Now the other energy that goes on above that, what it's doing, I'm not exactly sure. It's got other responsibilities, but it has nothing to do with, there's another me wearing a yellow and blue shirt somewhere that's, doing this with a different drink. And therefore I'm like, oh, I'm in vibrational alignment now to have a different drink. That must be because the other me in some other dimension is having a different drink right now. No. No. It makes good sci-fi, and it's kind of a good way to try to explain things, but it's just not the case. The reason those things already exist for us to call in, and the reason the other dimensions are associated with that is they know. They know what the story is, the heart, dimension of the heart. Okay? The dimension of the heart knows what the story is. But it doesn't know exactly. It knows enough to intuitively guide us along the timeline. But it doesn't know exactly because we wanted to experience it. We wanted to let it unfold. You don't open up a good book and skip to the end and read the end and say, oh wow, this is going to be a great book. No, we created the story, but then we came here not aware of what it was, so it can unfold for us. So that's why everything we're attracted to and that we're calling in, that we're lit up about, that's why we know it's there, is because it was already ordered by us. We put our order in for it, so it's waiting for us. It's waiting for us to light up to it and to call it in. When we don't, then we're not at the right space, that new house we're supposed to be in, so we live here, and then our neighbors that we're supposed to affect because we live there. When we don't do that, we create butterfly effect. That job that we're supposed to have, that's ours, that's theirs to call, that's there for us to call into us. It exists because we ordered it. We said, yeah, I'll take that, and I'll take that, and I'll take that. That's going to be my happy ever after. That's going to be my heaven on earth. That's going to be the good experience that I have there. The good, the even better than that, the even better than that, and the way better than that. Because we weren't here to experience the dense energies. The dense energies have caused the physical beings that were created for this to go through some hellacious things. And consciousness did not intend for that. Consciousness wanted to expand, but not put its creations through hell for us to expand consciousness. That was never intended. I've literally felt, it's been channeled to me, and I've been allowed to feel the grief that the universe experiences over this. And that grief cannot continue because that is low vibrational. pain, suffering, sadness, unforgiving of themselves. And you say, that doesn't make sense to me. Beings that have been here before, when they transition over, they go back to the whole. And they're taking that energy with them. The chaos down there, the density down there. It's not what we intended. And they all want forgiveness. They have incarnated many times trying to raise the vibration of the planet, but the density has kept them from awakening to enough of their story to be able to connect with the control tower and do all of that. This has been a progression of time, and we're finally here to this point in time. Now, how much more energy expands beyond us, I don't know. What all that energy is doing, I don't know. But the multidimensional aspects of ourselves that we are aware of, they're all working with us to make this life unfold. We are sovereign over it. The dimension of selves that are here are sovereign over it. But that's why we call all of ourselves down into ourselves, to our heart space. So we can confer with the other dimensions. What do you see up there? What do you know up there? And they lead us to this serendipity and that synchronicity and this good fortune. And they lead us to these things. So no, they're not living another life like us somewhere else, these other multi-dimensions. They're helping us live this life. So that's multidimensionalism. We are a multidimensional being. The other dimensions of ourself are helping us with this life. The things that already exist because we pre-ordered them in our free will. And when the mind says, hold on a second, somebody's telling us what to do, our free will is being imposed upon. We are literally being tricked out of the heaven on earth experience that we created for ourselves here. And that's why we have to transcend the mind. Don't create more chaos for yourself by arguing with yourself. Just hold on a second, mind. The heart's lit up about something. This is going to take us to a good place. This is going to get us to where we want to be. This is what we came here for. Oh, what we came here for. It's a good place? Huh. So, yeah, and when we get there, we're going to be smarter and we're going to look good for figuring it out and we're going to look good. And the mind is on board. And while the mind is on board, that's when you start taking those first steps. And then the next step. And then the next step. And when the mind starts getting, I don't know about this. Are you sure about this? And you're like, yeah. And you have to get the mind on board. Don't argue with yourself. Get the mind on board. Okay? So that's multidimensionalism. Now people will say, well, what about the other lives that we've lived? This was channeled to me too, and this was amazing. This was just so amazing. Think of it like concentric circles, okay? So when we send out, we've sent out like sound waves out into the universe, and light waves go out. That's why we talk about light years. How many light years away is something, right? Because it takes a long time, the way we measure time, for things to get that far. All right? Well, our existence is the same way. So another lifetime that I've lived here, the energy from that is going out like this. And that does exist out there somewhere in a concentric circle. So that is still, that still exists out there. That's why we can't change time. We can't go back and rewrite history. People who tell you they can take you to Akasha and you can rewrite your record. No, you can't. Universal law will not allow that. That would implode the space-time continuum. This is the space-time continuum. These concentric circles. So no, you don't get to rewrite anything. Nor are you going to be allowed to rewrite anything. That would implode the space-time continuum. We can't change what has already been. If we could change what's already been, the universe wouldn't have left us in dense energy. The universe would have said, oops, Superman, stopped the planet, turned it back around, rewrote that, and done it again. Can't do that. But yes, your other lifetimes are still reverberating out there. And you can access those for information. It's always there. So when you leave this life, when you transition from it, and your energetic, whatever energetic form we're in then, back with the whole or however it is, all of that, yes, is still out there. And we're still aware of it. We have the memory of our other lifetimes. It's recorded. That is the Akashic record of everything that has been. And integrity maintained, space-time continuum. That is the Akashic record of everything that has been. It is reverberating outward. Every sound wave that we have sent out, the light waves, the light rays, how far it goes, it's going and going and going, and it's how many light years out. The same way, the energy of our lifetime resonates out. It's vibration. Living is vibration. We're at certain frequencies. They keep reverberating out. Yes. So that, how did you see that? So that is why, yes, do we have other lifetimes that would, yes, the space-time continuum is there. The record of it is there. But that's out from the planet. That's not happening on planet right now. It has happened. And the record of it continues. But we're here now, in this form. And this is our reality. And this is what our energetic aspects, our other dimensions of self, are focused on. So each of us are a multidimensional being. The dimensions of ourselves wants to function as one, the micro to the macro. Wants to function as one for a healthy, happy, whole, and complete. So we're plugged into that frequency, and then everybody's plugged into that frequency. So everybody is getting their happy ever after, their healthy, happy, whole, and complete. And therefore, there is no chaos, but there's order, and consciousness is expanding. And no one is going to Akasha trying to rewrite records and implode the space-time continuum. Now, you may not hear quantum physicists tell it this way. I haven't heard one do it yet. I have heard some others talk about the multidimensional aspects of ourselves and what that really means. And I have heard some others now that say what I say. I can't remember who they are because I was kind of in shock myself as it's being told to me. And I'm like, oh wow, somebody else is saying what I'm saying or getting what I'm getting. And I wasn't aware enough of the fact that there's not a lot of us, or at least not a lot of us coming forward and talking. That'll change. There'll be more and more people saying it. And I'm not special. I just happen to be the physical being that the energy came down to for some reason. And I'm honored, and I'm glad, but it's also kind of scary. It's kind of scary when you go out into the world and you tell the world, I know what you've been told, but that's not right. That's a scary thing to do. But when that's what you're here for, and you know it, and your guides are guiding you to do it, and that's what lights you up, and you're healthy, happy, whole, and complete doing it, you can't deny that it's true. And so to be healthy, happy, whole, and complete, you plug into your vibrational frequency, and you become a bear in a china shop, and you say what's given to you. Now, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. What's given to us is given to us in ways that we can understand it at that point in time for our level of consciousness. Now, 100 years from now, 10 years from now, 10 minutes from now, what level of consciousness I will be at, it'll be different. And therefore, that doesn't mean that it's not true. It means it was explained to me in a way to explain to all of you that our level of consciousness was ready for. Just like we teach children about things at the level they're ready for. Then when they get older, we explain it to them in the more complex, more accurate way. We didn't lie to them. We explained it to them to begin with the way they would get it. Mom, what does it mean that Grandma died? Well, when they're really little, how many of you have said, well, Grandma's gone to a better place? Grandma's transitioned, whatever terms you used. But you didn't get into that, well, her body shut down. You didn't get into all that. But then as they got older, and they became more consciously aware and could handle it, because of the increased consciousness, then you gave them more information. It's the same way with us. So anyone who is channeling, I don't question what they're channeling, because what they're getting is for their level of consciousness and for the level of consciousness of the people that they're attracting to them. And I don't worry anymore about what people think about what I say, because what's being channeled to me is for my level of consciousness at the time. And there are people that I am supposed to be sure hear what I'm saying. They're going to be attracted to me and they're going to listen. You might say, well, I've looked at your YouTube channel. You don't have that many followers. Well, if there's other ways, they're going to hear it. And remember, it reverberates out. There's butterfly effect with that too. If I say it and you hear it and you tell someone else and they tell someone else and they tell someone else, we can reach millions. When ourselves, we reach very few. And not everyone who's going to do this is going to have 1 million followers. They're going to have 100 or so, 200 or so. It's going to be the people ready for them and that will be impacted by them. And then each one of those is going to reverberate out from them in the way that the people around them are ready for. All depending upon our level of consciousness, which doesn't make somebody above or below anyone. It's just the numbers get higher is why we talk about high or low. It doesn't mean you're smarter. It means you're just aware. A brilliant child who is not yet experienced enough to be aware of something is still a brilliant child. Brilliance doesn't come with more programming in the computer. Brilliance is a state that you're born in. And then as you awaken to each layer of it, it is represented differently. It is expressed in different ways. It's the same way with all of us. We're all brilliant. We're just unfolding the layers, awakening to it, layer after layer after layer. So, that's multi-dimensionalism. And now it's almost 60 degrees. So I am going to not finish this hot tea because it's not hot anymore. But I am going to do some more work and get my walk in and then do some writing. And I want you all to have an amazing day. And I hope that this helped clear up some things about multidimensionalism and why people say, well, everything's already created, it's already there, it exists in other dimensions. Not exactly. It's not like you're living it in another dimension and now your vibrational portal has opened up to it and so you can call it to this dimension too. And no. And our past lives, yes, there's a record of them and it's reverberating out. And no, we can't change that. What's happened has happened. All right? Let's all embrace life every day, whatever level of consciousness you're in. Let's embrace it. Let's not judge one another or label one another for whatever level of consciousness those around us are in. They are where they are. Now, again, there are those who are narcissistic and borderline personality disorder, and that's a whole other thing. And I'm really hesitant to teach on it because it's kind of heavy. But that's a whole other thing. for the most part, most people are doing the best they can. They're doing what they know to do at that point in time and making the best of things. So, how do you want to be treated? With respect and understanding when you've messed up. And you realize it later when you're at a different level of consciousness. Oh, wow, I shouldn't have done it that way. Well, no, you didn't mess up. You did what you knew to do at that level of consciousness. You may say, well, actually, I knew better, but okay. Maybe you knew better, but there was something about societal programming that made it acceptable for that to be your choice at that time. And now your level of consciousness is telling you, that societal programming was wrong. Well, you don't go back and do it over. You transmute that energy. You're like, okay, been there, done that, I forgive it. Going to raise that energy up to the level I'm at now, transmute it. And I'm going to pull it back to me, out of the past, to my future, to open up space here so I have energetic bandwidth for what's here and now. And I'm going to attract more of that in, based upon my heart space. And I'm in touch with the control tower now. We got the mind on board because, we're working with it now instead of arguing with it all the time. And I'm going to manifest, co-create the best life possible because I already wrote it and I'm opening up to it and I'm aware of it. And it's going to be beautiful because we're all meant to have beautiful lives where we're learning and expanding, free, plugged into our vibrational frequency that we in our free will decided upon. So there's order instead of chaos, beauty and happiness and joy and bliss instead of agony and pain and starvation and killing, and order instead of chaos, so that the reverberations of it all is order in the universe, wholeness and completeness, and consciousness continues to expand. Living in great big capital letters, as long as we're breathing.